2663 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. Now, I totally disagree with the way things are going, but you can't be angry because that's what the enemy wants. He wants to control you. They do things to make you mad so they can control you. It's like being married, and the wife would do things to make you mad, or she'll do things to make you feel good. And men do that to women too when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good, or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have to say, you don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you got to stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you for tuning in, folks. How y'all doing on this fine Thursday? Great shows today. Appreciate you all tuning in. Coming in from Joel's show. Right on. Welcome. Appreciate that, Mike. Appreciate that. Delighted, Chris, Troy, everybody. Tomas. Appreciate that. Welcome. I got a couple things I want to talk about, as we do. You know, there's an amazing story here. We're going to get murder mystery here a little bit. And it has to do with pot. I got pot smokers in my chat. And we love them. We love the pot smokers, right? An amazing murder. There's been a murder. I want to get into something here that I think you might find interesting, at least somewhat. You could call in as well, 888-775-3773. You know the number. Call it. Get on hold. Jump on the air there. And I will get to you. Appreciate that. 888-775-3773. What's up, D-Live? What's up, Rumble? How y'all? You know, I have a supporter on Rumble. I wonder where he is. I rushed through his name, and I feel like I'm quite positive I've been saying it incorrectly. If I see you, I'll say hi. But what's up, Rumble? Rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. I heard someone say something about my show, I think today, on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I think it was a super chatter. I forget the name. That is a look, Mr. Canada. Right on. Yeah, I'm rocking the Canada. He's an anchor baby from Canada. But where was I? They're talking about my show. They were saying something. They were saying a super chatter was very kind. In, talking about the shows, they were saying, what were they saying? Jesse Lee Peterson is spiritual. Hake has the news. Joel has the relationship show, and Nick has the conspiracy show. I'm not taking offense. The super chatter was very, very kind. Okay, no one's taking offense here. One should not take offense to anything, right? That's not godly. Is that in the Bible somewhere? Maybe. It just doesn't seem godly, right? Doesn't seem godly. Maybe some Christians in the chat can help me out. I don't know. Maybe it says it in the Bible. Doesn't seem godly. Taking offense, right? I'm not taking offense, okay? I love the conspiracy theorists. We love the conspiracy theorists, right? Gregatron said that. Okay, we love Gregatron. And we know Gregatron was very kind in his super chat. So no offense taken. We love the conspiracy. So often the conspiracy theorists are maligned, put away in a corner where they fester and no one's showing them love. And they're on it sometimes. Sometimes. Poor conspiracy theorists. No, keeping them in the corner, getting crazy. But we love the conspiracy theorists, right? That's a FBI term anyways. Oh, conspiracy. Just call them a conspiracy theory. That way you could discount everything they're saying. But are they wrong? That's not always the most important thing, though. I'm talking about conspiracy theorists, like the people. Like, we could talk about many things. You can call my show about it. You know I'm open to talk about many things. Whatever you want to talk about, seriously. I entertain many things on my show, right? But conspiracy theorists are cowards, okay? They don't want to fix the problem for real. Being really into this stuff. I don't think they really want to fix the problem ultimately. And I say that because that goes for anybody who's not pointing you to yourself, right? Back to the self. Anything that's not anyone or anything that's not pointing back to that, I don't think is a really seriously wants to fix the problem. Speaking in abstracts here. You know what I mean? But refuse foolish and ignorant speculations, knowing that they produce quarrels. Is it 2 Timothy? 2 Timothy. I'm barely monolingual, guys. I can barely speak one language. Maybe I should have spent time on one language instead of being split into multiple languages. Oh, I'm bilingual. I'm joking around. Very nice. That's from the New American Standard Bible. Thank you for that. Nick can't help it. He was born out of conspiracy. But where was I? That's great. Thank you, Hake, for the Bible verse. What was I going to say, though, about conspiracy theorists? You know what I'm saying, right? Anything not pointing back to yourself. I don't think you're really serious. And we could talk about many things. I'm open. I'm open to it. But we can't play the blame game. And that's a comment that you could take on many levels. But the most important one is yourself, right? Okay. You get it. 888-775-3773. What's chat saying? Because I want to get into this murder. There's been a murder. Maybe I am the conspiracy show. Oh, well. That's okay. I appreciate that, Gregatron. Yeah. Appreciate that, folks. DJT, it's DJT 2020. I guess I said it prematurely. I read it in the chat. If you hear me, sir, over there on Rumble, I know your name. I just need to slow down. I want to talk about slowing down and calming down in a bit here. Lamps with the coffees. I think I read these, but this was from the other day. I hope I didn't miss these. buymeacoffee.com/AmericanAnchorBaby. My apologies. buymeacoffee.com/AnchorBaby. Speaking of slowing down, so there's been a murder. There's been a murder. 2008. We're going back to 2018 for this one. Maybe old news. In fact, the news about this is about like a month old now. So it could be somewhat old news. We're going back to 2018, though, here. Cloudy May Sunday night in Thousand Oaks, a suburb in Ventura County, California. A man arrives home and sees his roommate and his new girlfriend hanging out, just having a good time, living in the living room, relaxing and enjoying each other's company. His roommate, Chad, had recently met Bryn and was doing well in his new career as an accountant. Seeing nothing out of the ordinary, Vinny Oliveira goes upstairs to take a shower. He starts hearing noises downstairs. He starts hearing banging, sounds of things breaking. He goes down to take a look. He sees furniture toppled. The couch is flipped over. It's covered in blood. And Chad, his roommate, is severely wounded. He hears his roommate begging for help. This story, okay, maybe you kind of know it. Maybe you heard about it. I'm just getting into it now. Old news, okay, the story centers around Bryn 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, I believe, 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, and the killing of Chad O'Melia. When police arrived at the Thousand Oak homes, which Chad O'Melia lived in, they found Chad O'Melia dead from over 100 stab wounds, and Bryn 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 crying and screaming hysterically, the bloody knife still in her hands. Officers try to disarm her. 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 begins to harm her own neck. Officers use a taser and several baton blows before they can disarm 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. Finally, but not before she's able to plunge the knife into her own dog. Even her own dog. Which is an important detail. This nightmare scene that I described happened in 2018, okay? It actually only went to trial years later because the prosecution kept granting extensions to the defense, the idea being they could exhaust all possibilities of an unprepared defense. Like if the defense were to say, we didn't have enough time to prepare. So yeah, they wanted to exhaust that. Here's the news, though. Here's what's fascinating about this story. Why is his name Chad? Okay. This is in Thousand Oaks, so California. And here's the fascinating tidbit, which is the sentencing and all that, which happened not too long ago, about a month, January. California audiologist, hearing specialist person who stabbed boyfriend 108 times in cannabis-induced psychosis gets a slap on the wrist. She was high. She was high, and the pot made her do it. If you read the headline, that's kind of what you gather, right? I guess most people are probably like that. The headline, maybe the first sentences, first paragraph. If you read all that, you think, okay, this is a story of a woman claiming she's under cannabis-induced psychosis, and they're giving her a slap on the wrist. What a shame. Bryn 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, 33 years old, was sentenced to 2 years probation and was ordered to perform 100 hours of community service after being found guilty of killing her new boyfriend, Chad O'Melia. So, pretty, I don't know if has anyone ever heard of that? Community service for even an involuntary manslaughter, because that's what she's charged with. She was originally charged with murder, but it got downgraded to involuntary manslaughter. So it's like she was basically drunk, like a DUI. But even DUIs they get jail time if they kill someone. So, a lot of questions, I'm sure. Ventura County Superior Court Judge David Worley ruled that 𝒏𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍� had no control over her actions when she entered into a psychotic episode and stabbed Omelia, 26 years old at the time. She was 27. Repeatedly in his Thousand Oaks apartment, May 28th, 2018. So she had no control. She was on the drugs. How many pot seeds did she snort? Says John Frederick. Oh, female privilege. I don't know, folks. Let's get into the details here. Because, look, allow me to get into the details here a little bit. It's quite fascinating. So, Bryn, she said she was just, it was psychosis. Experts for the prosecution and defense both found that the marijuana bong hit given to �🡪🔫 threw the woman into a deadly psychotic episode. Don't be hitting those bongs. I mean, don't be smoking pot. But from that point forward, she had no control over her actions. I mean, you know, we're going to get into here in a moment the experts here and their conclusions. It's all quite dubious, to say the least, as to how one ascertains that this bong hit made her psychotic enough to kill someone. Normally, she wouldn't have had she not hit the bong. Okay, but, you know, there's a couple of things here. Because I think there's some details presented with Bryn here that I understand. Okay, so here's Bryn. Here's Bryn with some neck wounds after she took the knife to her neck. Pretty serious. I mean, these are just scars after. That's her. That's her, though. Bryn �🡪🔫🔫. So, where were we? She had no control, they're saying. I wonder how they ascertained that. From that point over, okay, she plunged the knife into her neck when police attempted to disarm her. 🏐🡪🔫's lawyers argue that their client, who was an inexperienced pot smoker, became involuntarily intoxicated at the time of her killing, after Omelia had pressed her to take another bong hit after not getting high off the first hit. Hold up. Okay. If you were following so far, I wouldn't blame you and just thinking, well, so okay, I get it. Woman gets high, stabs boyfriend to death 100 times, claims it was cannabis-induced psychosis, gets slapped on the wrist. Wow. So they're saying you just smoke a little pot and it wasn't you. But actually, that's not what this case centers around, okay? If you just dig a little bit, this whole case actually centers around this very term here, involuntarily intoxicated. So under California law, a person is seen as responsible for their actions, even when impaired by drugs or alcohol, unless their intoxication is involuntary, okay? This case is not at all about a loss of control, a cannabis-induced killing, because you got to understand prosecutors and the prosecution and the defense both agree that there's no question this was a cannabis-induced killing, which is itself, I mean, hold up. Can we slow down? Can we slow down 1 second? Are you going to just totally blame the pot here? I don't know. You dig a little bit, you find they are not arguing over whether the cannabis caused her to kill. The case completely centers around whether she consented to being intoxicated. That's the whole thing. And outlets report that, New York Post. 🏐🡪🔫's involuntary manslaughter conviction typically carries a sentence of around 4 years in state prison. So, again, very, very rare, this is not how this stuff usually goes, okay? So where were we? Cannabis-induced killing. So the whole thing is around that, involuntarily intoxicated. So her defense, here it is from USA Today, New York Post. 🏐🡪🔫's defense revolved around the idea that she was involuntarily intoxicated. It wasn't her. She didn't consent. She claimed Omelia had pressured and intimidated her into taking the last bong hit. What are you doing out there, fellas? You're playing with fire. 𝒏𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍� was originally charged with murder. Prosecutors reduced the charge to involuntary manslaughter after their own expert psychologists agreed with defense experts that 𒒏🄎𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𥠗 was suffering from cannabis-induced psychosis. And according to her testimony, it was after the second hit, which she was coerced to do. So she didn't want to do it. And then she went on and stabbed both her dog and Melia. I told him I didn't want anymore. He made me take the second hit. Here's where the dog tidbit is interesting. Ventura County. Hold on. VC Star, okay, Ventura County Star reports that her stabbing her own dog was another central point in proving the cannabis-induced psychosis. So that's pretty interesting. Because she would never do that. She loves her dogs. In fact, it reads here that this was uncharacteristic with someone that loved her animals and loved animals as much as Bryn 𝒏𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𥠗. She loved them. So that's an argument now, which is hilarious. You want this? You looking for this, Joel, and trying to be silent about it? Don't worry about it. Oh, but where were we? Yeah, so just so you know, you want to prove some defense here. You got a little dog around. Make sure you tell everyone you love animals and then stab that dog to death. Well, I don't know if the dog died. And use that as a defense, as an insanity plea. I would never do that. I love my dog. It's just a funny thing, right? Because a lot of people believe they love their animals. So it's a funny side plot to this whole fiasco, this whole mess, nightmare scene. And hopefully you can gather some in between the lines insight here. We're going to get into some more interesting details. So, about Bryn, the whole defense is, well, she's a good girl. She wouldn't do anything like that. 𝒏𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𥠗 was painted by the prosecution as a party girl who just wanted to get high. Her father said she has worked her whole life helping others. So a little bit about her, I guess. Because I wanted to get to her grandma. Because I guess I'm just trying to point out the failure, the multiple failures here. Because this is not about feeling bad for Chad at all. Trying to gather what I want to say here. Look, it's not about feeling bad for Chad. It's kind of like those rich guys who get themselves in the middle of these allegations and all that. And although it's evil, some of this stuff, because simple accusations by itself are enough to ruin people's lives, reputations, get them even legal trouble. This is going all the way to Trump. Jean Carroll. You got to understand the travesty of justice and law that whole thing is. That being said, though, a lot of these men, rich, powerful men, they kind of get themselves into that situation. And it's all consensual usually. I mean, I imagine. Most likely. They throw themselves at you, like Trump said. But it's still kind of a dirty, gray area world. And it's kind of real sanitized by society, right? But even just hookup culture. That's just dating. They call that dating. They call that just dating. Oh, I had sex with this girl and we met through Tinder and that's the most normal thing. You're playing with fire. You are playing with fire, and if you get allegations and all that, it's evil if it's all false, but I'm not going to feel sad for you. I'm not going to feel sad for Chad. It's not like he deserved to get stabbed here. But like it reads here, when this woman met him, she describes him as the nicest guy ever. Careful, ladies. The nicest guy ever wants to have you hit his bong so he can have sex with you. But here's the thing. Here's from the prosecution. The fact that 𝒏𝒄𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 reached out to Chad that night and drove to his house at 10:30 p.m., texting him and asking him for some of his marijuana corroborates the obvious. She wanted to get high. So, what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to point out how whatever you think about pot, whether she was actually induced to be a little crazy, which I actually kind of believe. I want to get to that. This case has nothing to do with that. This case is all about moving blame away. How's anything going to get better? This is just the blame game, and there's no question she killed him. She admits it, but she was like, he made me do it. He made me smoke the pot. I didn't want to do it. If you're so unstable that you can't be trusted to, you shouldn't be smoking pot, but you got to understand. Look, there's a whole bunch of people smoking pot. I guess they're not out there killing, but they are. There's something worse going on than that. That's what I'm trying to say. They have anger, and anyone with anger can do the same thing as this woman, Bryn. And to say that you're inexperienced, I just don't know if that's a defense here. Anyway, 𝒏𝒄𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 grandma, let's move on a little faster here. In a letter to the court, 𝒏𝒄𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎's grandmother, Patricia Pierce of Bloomingdale III, that's how they write it, said only a drug with life-threatening strength could have caused her granddaughter to commit the crime. I am a full-time psychiatric nurse with the state of Illinois with 22 years of service. Oh, no. Why does that make me nervous? That's not necessarily a good thing, especially these days. In her letter, Pierce says, she's known the accused since her first breath when her lungs were useless from birth trauma. A little bit of details on Bryn's life. This is her grandma speaking about her lungs useless from birth trauma. Sounds like she went through a lot growing up. She paints a picture, the grandma, of a wholesome child raised in a suburb of Chicago who grew up to become an audiologist against all odds, they write. You know what I mean? Like, they write that for people who were like really sick growing up. They have a lot of problems. So it sounds like she went through a lot growing up. At the time of her arrest, 𝒏𝒄𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, who wears a hearing aid, so she's got like physical problems, was in her first year with UCLA Health. Bryn is steadfast in morals, honesty, life choices regarding citizenship with the Girl Scouts, church, health, family, and friends, and she has never been violent or trouble with the law. Her grandmother writes, dang, that sounds like a lot of stuff to be a part of. Maybe she wanted to be, Hey, maybe you're growing up and you want to be in the Girl Scouts and going to church and youth church and I'm part of the church and my family and friends, and sounds like she grew up Christian. I really don't want to speak more than what I know. But can you see how so many Christian homes, despite talking about love and being Christian and all that, and that probably having some positive effects, ultimately still still subject to emotions, the thoughts, and what is that? Pure evil. And they're Christian. So I don't know if being Girl Scouts, church, health, none of that stopped her from growing up and going out, and it doesn't sound like she was married and smoking pot, and which are many things that we all get into, right? But the things that we get into don't come without their consequences and risks, okay? So she wasn't this little church girl. I just want a church girl that reads her Bible. So you follow me here? It's not a I guess not a big, because people are saying like female privilege in the chat. I guess so. But not from even the courts, from like society, from men, from her grandma, and then community service, just 100 hours of community service for someone dead. So I don't know what to say. Hopefully you found this somewhat interesting, though, some insights into the what's underpinning stuff, what's motivating people, what's really going on, right? I don't know, because just reading the headline, cannabis-induced psychosis, doesn't quite explain it. Reading on further, involuntarily intoxicated, well, that sounds even worse, even more evil. So hopefully you found some insight there. Check this out. One more thing about Chad's mother. And I see your calls. Please, just a little patience. 888-775-3773. I'm about to finish up here because you got to hear about Chad's mother. Chad O'Malley's mom. The stabbed son. They're saying that his mother died of a broken heart. She died age 53, about a year and some change after her son's death. She knew all of those details, and it absolutely crushed her, friends of hers would say. I would say within the first 8-9 months, she was in utter shock. She struggled to get up in the morning. She did end up going back to work, but she was never the same. She felt an enormous sense of guilt if she was even caught smiling, her friend said. What the heck? That is such a mess. Let me finish this. Her friends tried to be there the best they could, but ultimately a broken heart left 𒒏💊💂💎 dead. Oh, wait, sorry. Yeah, within 21 months of Chad's death, 𝒏💊💂 died at age 53. But then the article adds in of complications of diabetes. I guess you really can get depressed enough where you don't take care of your body, especially if you have already diabetes, that could be the precipitating causes that led to your death. It's a little emotional to write it like that, but okay. But why is that happening to anyone? Look at this. She would withdraw a little bit more from us, and we kept trying to reach out to her because she saw the agony she was in. We saw the agony she was in. I don't know about agony. She even told us when we would post for a picture at somebody's house, don't ever take a picture of me smiling. I don't want anybody to ever think I'm ever going to be happy ever again. What drama. Anyone who's ever been mad, admit it. You're just like this woman. Drama. And what's really, really dark about the drama that you make of your life in your mind is it will kill you. And you will follow the drama in your mind all the way off a cliff. And you will, because do you understand what I'm saying here? I don't want anybody to ever think I'm going to be happy again. That's pure drama. You doing that whole show where you smile and you go and you furl your face. No, I'm not smiling. And then people say, "Oh, she's in so much agony. She can't even smile." It gives you so much thrill in life. And you will do that all the way to your death. This woman neglected her body, complications of diabetes. You would even say, well, Nick, this one was serious. This one was for real. She died of a broken heart. She let herself die. I don't think she was playing. No. You will get that thrill and play the drama all the way off the cliff. So I wouldn't play with that. I'd suggest to drop it. Just calm down. But anyways, we'll get to that. Yeah, so this one, you see what I'm saying here? The drama, look, pure evil. Careful with that. That's everyone who gets mad. So anyways, where were we? Is that everything on this story? The blame game. The courts are sanctioning with legal precedent more of this no consequences for women. Chad O'Malley, they say he was an accountant doing well. And he just met the wrong person. That's what his dad is saying. Sean O'Malley. He's saying it was he was living a great life. He just met the wrong person. Like I said, it's not about feeling bad. We really can all learn like I was saying earlier, it comes back to you. If Chad was alive or whatever, if Chad could see what's going on, even then he still couldn't blame Bryn Spector or blame the pot or blame anything else. You know, I personally think he really was maybe a little, that she was really a little bit taken, what's the word? Taken by surprise by just how high she got. I think there was some truth there. What I'm trying to say is that I don't think pot is any joke, okay? I'm not trying to say that I have quite a bit of doubt on cannabis-induced psychosis and all that, but I've already expressed that. I wanted to just say that I don't think pot is a joke. I think pot's the strong stuff. People really downplay it, and they like it's I don't know, like it's a light drug. It's even lighter than alcohol. Nobody dies from nobody's ever overdosed, bro. Who's ever overdosed from pot, bro? I think it's the strong stuff. Anyone who here in my chat might understand this, because I think most people who smoke pot don't have any idea. But if you've paid some attention to the thoughts, pot smokers in my chat, I know you're there. You don't have to make yourselves known. When you smoke pot, admit it, your thoughts get instantly louder. Like instantly, it's like a knob on a mixer, on a volume knob on a mixer, labels Satan, and it just goes up instantly. I have people in my chat who think they can like handle that. They'll talk about it like, yeah, it makes my thoughts louder, and I notice them though more. I don't know, man. I personally think you're sitting there overreacting to your thoughts because you're high. That's why you get paranoid. You get all this stuff, or you get lethargic. Lethargy is an emotional, lethargy and procrastination and doing nothing is an emotional response. I don't know if you realize that, potheads and otherwise. It's your inability to regulate like stress and energy of life. And so what? You cope. It's an emotional response. So what was I saying? I don't think it's a joke. And you're inducing psychosis in a sense. Look, this one's for my intellectuals in the chat, maybe liberals who are tuning into my show, and you guys have all the studies that say pot's just this or that. Well, here, look up your medical language and all that, and you'll find that the effects of pot coincide with inducing psychosis. So anyways, my last joint is today. I know it, says Radio Logic in my chat. Sal says, I'm quitting tomorrow. Stop. Don't lie to yourself. Just don't even just say that. Just calm down. Okay? Don't say, please, people in my chat are like, I'm quitting right now. That's not the answer. The answer is calm down. And I want to get to that in a second here. Yeah. So I have people in my chat who think they can handle it. What's worse? Anger, blaming. People that get angry, not trustworthy. They can flip and they could kill. Angry people blame. Blamers can be killers and they'll cry about it and say it's not exactly their fault and feel totally fine with that. No problem while you're dead. So what's the conclusion here? I don't know. Maybe there's been multiple conclusions. Hopefully you've been following somewhat my insanity. But the answer always goes back to yourself. Look, I wanted to get to calm down. People in my chat are saying, hey, I need to quit. This is my last joint. The answer is I need to stop pot. That's the answer. I'm freaking out. I'm tripping. I'm listening to the Anchor Baby. I'm going to stop pot or anything. Don't come up with any conclusions and answers. I'll tell you this. The most important thing ever is to calm down. No matter what is going on in your life. The answer is calm down. Okay, not get angry and lash out, smoke pot, or reach out to something, call, or even pray and sing. You know, like out loud. Over and over and over again, I keep arriving like an idiot to the same answer. All I had to do was calm down. So this is just like a bit of a reminder, okay? If you're out there tripping, I can't help you. I can't help you. But let me tell you this, you're going to feel silly. You're going to feel silly when you calm down and you realize, oh, all I had to do was calm down. But not after you cause some mess. So you better calm down sooner rather than later. It really is the answer. You might think you might think this is like, oh, this is some nice advice. This is just some nice little advice. That is the first step. It's the total answer, okay? There's nothing besides the first step, what's right in front of you. No one else has the answer. Not calling JLP, but you could call the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. 888-775-3773, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. But let me tell you this. You're going to feel silly when Jesse tells you to calm down. Okay? Once you calm down, you'll see what to do. The conclusion is Nit's rambling. You might be correct. I think it's time for calls. 888-775-3773. Are the potheads mad in the chat? Right on, folks. Okay. Should you quit pot? Smoke on it. What are you guys thinking right now after that insane ramble? And I know I have calls about to get to you. Pot education. Yeah. Calm down. Calm down. I got Justin, Fullerton, California. Thank you for your call, sir. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Nick? Thanks for taking my call.
No problem, sir. Appreciate it.
So I was thinking about what you were saying, and I was thinking about how one might be induced to commit homicide, and I believe that would be on the person's actions, at the time.
Sorry, there's a little bit of wind, Justin. I could not make out what you said.
Yeah, wait, let me get inside.
You in a wind tunnel. I'm not making out anything.
Can you hear me better now?
I think that's better. You back.
Okay. All right. So I was just thinking that if somebody's inducing someone else, then that person's liable for what they did. But as far as if somebody's not being forced to do it, they voluntarily are looking for like a drug that powerful, and then the inhibitions is definitely released. So I think the liability is still on the action of the individual, because cutting people and stabbing people cannot be accused because of a insanity, or intoxication, because, unless someone was induced for that against their will, then why would that person be held accountable? Why would you try someone and say, well, we don't want to have you be responsible for what you did because someone gave it to you, and that, you were looking for it, and you were given more than what you wanted, right? But if the person is saying, so like you're another person, so you're going to say, okay, well, in my chat, there's a lot of people that are saying, this, that, and the other, and one person says, I'm giving up, whatever. It didn't mean that there's some type of reefer panic madness going on that has not already been mentioned. When the medication that people were looking for or whatever goes into a recreational world, there's people that are going to abuse a drug and get abused by it. And so that's, I think... You don't believe in reefer madness? Yeah, this is part of it. I believe in it, yeah. Yeah, man. So you were saying if someone else, let's say, so if we could prove that someone was drugged against their will completely, and then they went off and did something crazy, you're saying the person who, drugged them is liable, right? If someone's getting roofied, of course, they're going to say it's a date rape drug. The person's being roofied against their will, something non-consensual happened. But to say that your actions are, that's really sad, because there's so many people that use pot for something that's probably not recreational, and they're going to be thinking, I should quit something that their doctor thought it was good for.
On this case, the details is what matters here, because it's not even about cannabis psychosis. The details, neither side disagrees that she was in a psychotic episode, that had a psychotic break. The real pernicious detail is the involuntary intoxication. So you realize there's no real justice or any getting down to the truth here. Because it's all centered around, well, this guy forced her to, after she voluntarily went and said, hey, you got some pot? I want to get high with you. They're saying that this guy who's dead, he's at fault, basically. So it doesn't even center around, oh, is this person responsible or not? Because look, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that mysterious to come up with a proper charge if you could, even if it was difficult to prove that someone was under a drug-induced psychosis. Let me explain what I mean. If someone was, if someone was high or drunk or whatever, and commits an action, and you could say that in a court of law they were induced by drugs, that would still carry with it its own penalty, which I think would be a fair penalty. Look at DUIs. Think about DUIs. That's an involuntary vehicular manslaughter. It still carries, I think, a fair sentencing of like 4 to 6 years. So you realize that with those details, this case has nothing to do with anything true.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't think it's fair sentencing it just because they reduce it, because they're saying you hit someone because you're drunk, or you hit someone because you were stoned. I mean, you hit someone while you were doing that, and you made two mistakes. One, you thought it was okay to get behind a vehicle.
Right. That carries its own problem. Right.
I don't know.
That has its own responsibility, choosing to take the drug or alcohol or whatever. But let's say, all I'm saying is, let's say you could throw that all out in a court case and all you had to go on was this person was under the influence. I think that person could still have a fair and reasonable penalty that's pretty severe, even if that person was out of their mind. Think about DUIs. These are people who are out of their minds, sometimes don't even realize they killed someone. It carries a plenty jail time and all that. Right on. Justin, anything else you want to talk about here?
2024 all day. And,
all day.
God bless.
Right on, sir. Appreciate it. Call me again, sir. Yep. Hey, Joel Friday with the super chat. No ramble in sight, pure logic and wisdom. I like to think that somewhere amongst the rambles, there's an insight. But thank you, Joel. Appreciate that. Right on. Joel Friday TV. Boom, boom, boom. 888-775-3773. Love in the heart with some scripture. Some scripture in the chat. Thank you. Mark 7, verse 15. It's not what goes into your body that defiles you. You are defiled by what comes from your heart. That's nice. I like that. Love in the heart. Potheads in the chat, don't read that and think that's right, and then go and smoke pot, and then think what comes out of your heart is good. But that is a nice verse. Yeah. It's not the things you're doing. What a lie. The things that you're doing. That's not the sin. That doesn't make you who you are. That can't be true. It just can't be true. It doesn't even make logical sense. Explain to me all the people that don't want to do it. Come on. I got Alex, Tennessee. I appreciate your call, sir. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello, sir, Alex.
Hey. Yes.
Thank
Nick,
you.
how's it going?
No complaints here. Thank you.
So I was just listening to you talk about all the pot thing, and I do agree with you that pot is not as it's not as harmless as people try to make it out to be. It's kind of funny how people talk about how harmless pot is, and I would say most things that are encouraged, especially by certain groups and organizations, governments, things like that, especially now pot's being so heavily encouraged, is usually not good for you.
Yeah. What a mess.
Yeah. But it reminded me, and I won't mention the name of the book, but there's a book written by a very famous pimp and he describes how the pimps didn't take this, but they gave it to all of their prostitutes, and it was pot. And pot has an unusual characteristic in that it actually increases your tolerance for many things. A lot of potheads always say, "Man, if everybody smoked pot, the whole world would get along. Everybody would be cool."
It's a chill drug, bro.
Yeah, right. Like it would be peace on earth if everybody smoked pot. But no, what it does is it allows you to tolerate getting screwed, essentially.
Dang, I think you're right, and I'm only saying this anecdotally to add to what you're saying. I've heard like in hip hop and in rap and gangsters and in gang culture that they get high before crimes and murders.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's that's the thing. Like it increases your tolerance for getting screwed, or for screwing someone else or whatever. Like
right in context with the prostitutes. Yeah. Now I'm following.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's, because the thing is that I think we inherently understand that certain things are not tolerable, and we feel a natural aversion to certain types of things. That is kind of just it's right and wrong is something that I think we know deep down. We have a natural striving towards a higher nature, but a lot of society nurtures our lower, more animal nature, which and so think about the things that are encouraged, like it's food, sex, violence, nepotism, all these things that animals will do freely and willingly, but our higher nature requires a little bit more effort on and that's what separates us from animals, is that we actually we can actually look in that direction. Anyway, so
like you got to constantly be watching.
Yeah, because there's most things, especially nowadays, try to push you more towards your lower nature, your more animal tendencies.
Yeah.
But back to the pot thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, on the pot thing, I think some of these streetwalkers, they're just getting. I see what you're saying. It's like, okay, yeah, it's just to get through the trauma. But I think some of them are also just getting high on the job. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm making a joke mostly. Go ahead.
But it's true. It's like it allows you to endure a certain degree of things that would otherwise be unendurable. You wouldn't tolerate them. You'd be like, no, this is ridiculous. I don't want to do this.
Do you think this woman that I talked about, you think the pot caused her to stab the dog and kill the?
Well, that's another thing about pot, is that like it's more than just increasing your tolerance for these things. I think I noticed too is that when people come off of pot, they tend to have really intense dreams. And a lot of people don't dream very much when they smoke weed, and so they end up. And then when they get off of weed, they're like, "Man, I'm having these crazy dreams." I always hear this from people who stop smoking weed, and they end up having wild dreams. And I wondered about that because it's almost as if it puts you in a dream state while awake. And it's funny because it relates to what Jesse says about drugs and alcohol and all kinds of other things, that it makes you go unconscious. And I wonder too if if you're having a crazy enough dream, who knows what you could do? Particularly that's one reason why your body goes into a non-mobile state while you're dreaming, so that you don't do anything crazy.
That's actually quite interesting. If I could say something about that, you know, about the pot inducing unawareness and the pot dulling you. Yes, it has that effect, but the thing is, nobody does stuff that they're not already there. Like, you already have to be there to do a lot of this stuff we're talking about, okay? You already have to be there in unawareness and that like that, and just kind of giving in to that same temptation to not endure and to not deal with your inability to regulate your stress, and so you know what I'm talking about. And so
Sure.
So you're already there. You're already there, and then you find the pot,
Yeah.
and you're just like perfect matrimony. So you're
Well,
already
you go
there.
into even deeper unconsciousness. Yeah.
And so you see what I'm saying? It's like a representation of it. That's
Sure.
that when you realize that, why it's important to see it that way, though, in my opinion, is because anybody who's continuously giving in to that temptation to not endure, that the easy way out, anybody who's doing that, and you could miss it because not everybody's smoking pot and it's in your face and you can see it. Mm-hmm. Those people are just as likely to go down the same path of this Bryn woman to go kill someone. I wouldn't say that the pot caused her to stab or kill anyone. It was not that. It was the anger.
Well,
it was you know what I'm talking about.
That for sure. Yeah, for sure. And it's a deeper, you know, it may have manifested in even deeper unconsciousness. You know, that's because most people pretty much all people that I know who have like a really severe, habit of smoking pot, they're all trying to escape some kind of pain or trauma,
mm-hmm.
and it's a way for them to cope with whatever it is that they're dealing with.
Bingo.
And so you're trying to escape something, and then this thing helps you go unconscious so that you're not conscious of that pain, but you're in another kind of unconsciousness.
Yeah.
And that pain's still there. It hasn't gone away. It's just covered up. That's all it is. That's what all that.
And like Joel was saying the other day, those are the most dangerous people. And they don't always have to be potheads. They don't always have to be prostitutes on the street. You know what I'm saying? Those are dangerous people.
Yeah, you never know what's going to trigger, you know, anybody who's in that kind of a situation. That's why, you know, again, going back to some of the things Jesse says, it's like you never trust an angry person. You know, you just never know what they're going to do. Yeah.
Right on, man. That makes a lot of sense, Alex. Appreciate that. Anything else you want to talk about, sir?
No, that's it. I'm calling you guys too much now.
No problem.
All right, see you.
Call me again. Take care.
All right, see you, man.
All right. 888-775-3773. We got through the heavy topics, the important stuff. Through the pot education and calming down a little bit. Don't freak out. Calm down. Calm down, clowns. And we got some calls, 888-775-3773. Beautiful. Because I think I want to get into something not so important. What I want to do now. There's news going around. What should I do here? TikTok. Candace Owens is staking her whole entire professional reputation on some gossip mess. I don't really want to get into it, but some of you, that's your girl. I like Candace, but, you know, she's still a female. All right? Nah, I don't want to get into that either. What about all these women going into these other countries and getting graped? White women going on the other countries saying, look at me. I'm traveling around Wanderlust. There's something going on. That's what's going on. There's someone who went around. There's these travel blog people. She's not the only one. There's other cases. But they're saying there was an attempted grape live on TV. This comes after this story of this woman traveling in India. As it's got the internet fighting over your country are the grapers, are the rapists. I'm not holding back. No, you're the rapist, not we. And so they're having a rape off online. That's not what it sounds like. That's not what it sounds like. They're talking about a Brazilian woman. Check this out. It starts off with the story of this Brazilian woman and her, I guess, husband. You may have seen this go around. And this is in Spanish, I think, because they are in Spain or from Spain. They're talking, they're in the hospital. Look at them. They're all bruised up, cut up in the face a little bit. They have assaulted us in the street. They hit us. They put a knife to our throats. He said, la violaron. So he's saying that she was raped. She was violated. 7 men, he says. He's crying. We'll tell you more after. She's posting. She's posting the update. I mean, I don't know. I guess they do run like a travel vlog kind of thing, so I guess it makes somewhat sense. I just always found this a little strange part of society and culture where even something like this, I guess you got to post the update and do it fresh while you still have the bruises and stuff. I guess if you really wanted to update people, you could do it after. I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking. I just always found that a little strange in the culture. We're in the hospital. We're inside the hospital. She's looking off in the distance. So pretty horrible, right? Nasty stuff. But the thing is they were traveling. Brazilian woman taking a selfie. Hold on. 888-775-3773. I see the calls coming in. Appreciate the patience. I just lost my place here. Where's my news? Here's my news. Spanish Brazilian tourist gang raped in India. Here it is. And, okay, so here it is. Spanish Brazilian tourist gang raped in India, mentally strong as husband made to pose with a $10,000 check. This woman who was allegedly gang raped by 7 men during a motorbike tour of India remains mentally strong, writes Yahoo News, despite suffering lasting trauma. Can you be mentally strong with lasting trauma? I know the wounds are fresh, miss, but I want to foster this language where we stop using this language of I'm strong even though I have trauma. I'm strong because I have pain, and I'm strong because I'm missing a leg, and I'm strong because I'm a midget little person who's Down syndrome, and you know what I'm saying? I want to foster a different kind of language. How about you can overcome trauma and live as if it never happened to you. You can. You truly can forgive, and you can, even if the worst thing that ever happened, being gang raped by 7 men in India, even if that happened to you, I want to foster that kind of language. You can overcome. You can live like that never happened to you. You don't have to be mentally strong with trauma. Just pointing that out, okay? Just want to change the language a little bit. 28-year-old tourist was on a motorbike with her 64-year-old husband. Big difference in age. I wonder if that was a significant factor in defending her. I know there were knives involved. I don't know what would you do, folks? I don't know what would I do? What would you do confronted by a motorbike of 7 Indians? The thing that's fascinating me too, I know it's multiple levels. I sound a little discombobulated. I'm jumping around. It's just fascinating on multiple levels because I've seen the Indians differently. I know the country is very big, very populous, and they're Hindus over there, and I'm sure they got issues, but I just never quite saw the Indians like this. I mean, I don't know. I never saw them as gang rapists. Aren't they like supposed to be all nice? Well, I just didn't quite see it. Look, I'm being culturally enriched, and it's a fascinating and scary experience. And it's not an isolated case. Okay, what's up with these women going around? Hey, I'm a missionary. I'm a missionary. U.S. missionaries trapped in Haiti beg for help amid the gang takeovers. Yeah, I don't know what do you think is behind all this? I know it's like altruism and all this, but I've always been quite suspicious about all this. Because, and if you've been watching my show, Jesse Lee Peterson or anything, you know that helping people isn't always helping people. And these countries are a mess. And I don't know if this army of white women missionaries has done any help. Done any real lasting good. I'm sure it's done maybe some good. I'm sure she's a nice lady, but now U.S. missionaries like her are begging for help as the stench of dead corpses fills the air in Haiti. It's an amazing situation if you heard me report on it the other day. And where was I? Incredible stuff. Attempted rape of CNN reporter live on TV. What is this incredible mess? What is this mess? CNN reporter live on TV. How can it be? How can it be? Was this in America?
Men surrounded me as I was doing a live report.
This was in America. This was not in America. Well, we'll find out, I guess.
And out.
Well, it reads right here. In India.
The minute that the light
Spoiler
went out,
alert.
Suddenly I was groped, I was grabbed, my clothes were torn. I literally had to fight to get out of that group. And so let's go ahead and look at this tape so that you can see what I'm talking about. This was live on television.
Barely. I gotta get out of here, guys. So tell me. Yes.
Tell her why should we are there?
Don't mess with the crowds of Indians. Oh my gosh.
So you hear me yelling there as a woman, and certainly I was really kind of surprised.
As a woman. So anyways, that's, I guess, some of this insane news, because they're saying we're a rape culture over here. They're saying we're a rape culture. And I wouldn't even go around calling India a rape culture. I mean, this is just like, I don't know, low class, I don't know, degeneracy. What do you call it? And I wouldn't go around calling India a rape culture anyway, because women are over there getting married. They're having babies and all that. They're doing their thing. Maybe I'm a misogynist, taking that as evidence that things are, that it's not a rape culture. But tell me if I'm wrong. 888-775-3773. I think I could get to calls here. Let's get to calls. Hold on. I don't want to move too fast here. U.S. missionaries, a rape culture, CNN. I think that's all. Yep. I think that's all. I really want to stress that, though. How that language should be changed. The language we're using, especially on trauma and all this. I really want to stress that. The way people speak already sets everyone up, or you set yourself up for failure big time. Like, you already set yourself up when you say, I have trauma. And just like accept it like that's a reality. Like, there's no coming out of that. I want to change that language. Interesting. Thanks, Joel. I think Joel has a little clippy for me. But while we get that situated, I got Steve, Ohio. Appreciate it, sir. You're on the air.
Nick, what's up, dude?
All is well, sir.
Hey, no, you have a really good point. Like the rape culture, and I was thinking about it when you were talking. Like, most women dress very provocatively in America, and then if you look at India or like Saudi Arabia, they're usually covered head to toe. So
right.
I think statistically those women still get raped too. Am I wrong?
In Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I should have probably did a little research before I chimed in on that. But what my point to that is, I think the whole sexual exploitation of anything or anyone would be a dominance thing. Do you feel me on that?
Interesting. Can you expand a little? I mean, it makes sense. False power. False power everybody wants. Or evil hearts want false power. Control.
Yeah, everyone wants to rule the world. You look at prisons, too. It's like most of those dudes are heterosexual, but there'll still be incidences where things happen. And, I mean, it seems like a dominance factor all the way around. Somebody wants to be better than somebody.
Interesting. Would you say, because you brought up this interesting tidbit here, prison, I guess homosexual sex in prison. Think about this for a second. So you say they're heterosexual, but they're doing this stuff. Would you say, but the men outside of prison, though, that are out there, and they say they're gay or whatever, but you would say, are they homosexual? As opposed to the heterosexual men in prison just doing some other stuff.
Well, I mean, both are an abomination. So it's like it's just a different colored pig.
100%. I'm singling it out because I think the whole like prison rapes, or consensual.
Yeah,
gosh, this is horrible. Consensual gay sex in prison. I think that whole thing, if you really thought about it, kind of disproves the whole idea that there even is such a thing as being a homosexual. No, you're just a dude turning into an animal.
Yeah, you're turning into an animal. That is the best way to put that.
Go on, man. Sorry. Found that interesting to point out.
No, that's cool. The reason I really called, you were talking a lot about weed earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I had this whole fight with weed myself when I told you I'd hold a Jesus sign on a day a week or whatever. And I was still smoking at the time. And I was not smoking. It was like a good solid 6 months. And, I really had that urge. And this is when I was still hooping and hollering, but I prayed. I'm like, God, if I could smoke weed, have my weed dealer hit me up today. And then 20 minutes later, I would never, or he would never call me, but this was the first time the dealer actually called me. I was like, wow, like that's got to be a prayer answer,
Wait. You asked God, you said, if you want me to smoke today? I missed that part.
No, I was like, God, if I'm allowed to smoke weed and it's not bad like everyone says it is, like,
send
me a sign or something. And then my weed dealer hit me up, and I was like, holy Moses. And I've been smoking ever since.
That doesn't sound... That's an awesome story.
It sounds crazy. Like, I told a guy about it. He's like, oh, that's serendipity. I'm like, who's she?
That's an amazing story. Wait, and allow me to, I don't know, I have to, I guess, ask.
I'll take it apart.
I mean, how do you know that was God?
That's what I was thinking, too. Like, that could have been Satan, flexing on me real quick. Just be like, oh, yeah.
Don't misunderestimate that. By the way, that was a question. I asked you. It was a question. I didn't make a statement.
Can you question it again?
How do you know that was God?
I did. I don't.
Yo, and don't underestimate that, because I don't know. Hey, call me if I'm wrong, folks. I think the Satan's conspiracy is that deep. It's that deep where he will work in the minds of others and put together plans, conspiracies. You out loud, you said to yourself, God, if I'm to smoke pot, let my dealer text me. I think, and look, everything with a grain of salt, leave space with everything I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's that deep. I think it's that deep. Satan can play that game like that, just even that simply, where he's like, oh yeah, okay, let me just tell your dealer to text you.
Ooh, yeah, I would agree. It's quite possible. But if you research the plant itself, and it's like, why would God give us a cannabinoid receptor in our noodle if we weren't supposed to smoke it? I started looking at things like that, and I'm like, okay, What happened around reefer madness? Oh, that was the end of prohibition. What did they need to get people off of marijuana and cannabis that has been used for so long? Oh, here, let's introduce alcohol because, like, same thing with the sexual depravity is if you cover the woman up, you're still an animal. You're going to want to attack, So it's that same kind of thing. They released the gate. Alcohol came back in, made reefer madness and DuPont. They started making everything oil-based, and then our currency was linked to that on a fiat currency, so everything had to get rid of hemp, get rid of everything that works, make everything oil-based. So that's why I was like, all right, maybe it's not that bad.
Look, I wanted to respond to that, man, because you're probably not even wrong about some of the stuff you're saying there. And the reason I say that is because I don't know. And I want to make that clear that I don't know, because I know that coming at this with ignorance is not helping anyone. You got all these people saying pot, I mean, they call it reefer madness, right? They'd have these I don't know, ads and videos when that's not what pot did to people. Not exactly how they said, which made people judge that and think, well, it must be fine. And so I get it. I don't want to come at this in an ignorant way. This is, but I'm glad you said everything you just said, because it allows me to point this very specific thing out. I notice that, and this is for all people, because it's not always pot. It could be a million things. It has to do with the thing going on in your head and your spirit, okay? And it's this. I notice people will rattle off these facts about pot that are probably good, but completely miss kind of like the point that I'm making here, which is what? But is that you? Oh, yeah, pot might help this person and these kids that are sick on drugs, and it helps them get off. Yeah, but is that you? The question here is not really about cannabinoid receptors, because I understand that comes up too. Well, why did God give us cannabinoid? That's not even the question here. Let's get to the basics. Are you coping? Are you escaping? Are you the basics? Are you, you know what I'm saying here? Are you giving in to that little part that says, it'll be easier. Just one more, just smoke a little. It feels nice. You know what I'm saying? Are you giving in to that? Because that little giving in turns into bigger giving ins, and that's pure evil. And I know people are want to argue about, well, the cannabinoids and the pot itself, but I don't really focus on that. Because I think if we argue about that, you'd probably be right about a lot of things.
No, but I see exactly what you're saying. When I did take the time off, I've seen a contrast of how I am when I smoke versus when I am completely without it. And, like, the difference is I just kind of, like, wake up a little less groggy during the day, or, but I do notice, like, it was a different spiritual change, too. I was really into the hooping and hollering when I was sober, but now that I'm not focusing on hooping and hollering and listening for voices, it's kind of good. But like you said, it does kind of turn that knob up, that Satan knob up to 11.
Admit it.
With the thoughts.
The second you hit the pot, it's like a +3 modifier to Satan's voice in your head.
You're right. Yeah, it turns the decibel up a bit. No, but I like punishment, I guess. So, like,
I understand.
It's good and bad, I understand. I like getting choked out, wrestling. But why wrestle with it? That's
don't wrestle. Don't wrestle. Calm down.
Calm down.
Let's just calm down. Right on, man. Yep. Hey, that's your life. Hey, Evan, bro, it's your life.
Not still working on it.
Right on. Same here, sir.
Yep.
I appreciate your call big time. Very interesting.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Appreciate it.
Always. Call me again.
Yes, sir.
I'm referencing that video from New York. That guy, that New Yorker who goes up to the little Jewish kid. It's one of my favorite videos. It's so funny. And he's got like the crazy hairdo. He's all like shaved here. He's got these like curls coming out the side of his head. And this black guy comes right up to the Jewish kid. He's like, man, you probably be looking good with that washer and like get a nice haircut. You probably be looking good too, man. It's a shame they got you looking like that, but F it, bro. It's your life. If you know, you know. All right. 888-775-3773. What are y'all saying in the chat? What are y'all saying? All this lettuce talk. all this lettuce talk. It's not. It's about a little honesty with yourself, right? I notice that happens a lot. The answer to is pot bad or good for you is not is pot bad or good for me? The answer is not, well, endocannabinoid receptors and this study, and that doesn't even make sense. That's like Bible thumpers rattling off information. Wait, hold up. We're talking about you and your life. I'm talking about me, my life. Okay. 888-775-3773. Nick, you better not own any plants that aren't in the list of approved plants. Kale Samogi. It's a chat I totally understand and I'm not confused about. Thank you. I do not own any such plants. Any such plants. What are illegal plants besides, what else is illegal? You can't own, there's some pretty like normal plants that you can't own. Like what's that black currant. That's a highly illegal plant, no? Black currant. How do you say that? Black currant. Species of plant. Anybody ever had black? Where are my Brits in the chat? I've always wanted to taste the flavor, the true flavor of black currant. Currant? A flavor that's eluded me. Banned in America. I want to know what it really tastes like. What it really tastes like. Who knows? Can you describe it to me? You guys are enjoying yourselves in the chat. I do appreciate it. If you're listening to the show and you want to support, jump in there. Chat away. It helps. I mean, don't get too distracted if you don't want to be, but it helps. If you like the stream, if you subscribe, you can't always help monetarily. I know you could buy me a coffee.com/anchorbaby, but you can leave a comment. It's positive for the channel. I see those check marks. I see the numbers all green on the channel, and that's all of you helping out. Okay, what's next? We got some interesting goings-ons with Trump a little bit, and there's someone defending him, showing a little bit manliness maybe. It's got to be appreciated a little bit. At a time when even doing the most basic thing, like holding open a door for Trump at this point, would be seen as supporting a terrorist, an insurrectionist. There's someone, a CEO, no less, saying we shouldn't take sides. And that's wrong. We should not be taking sides, even at a time like this, especially at a time like this. A little manly wisdom. And I see your calls coming in. 888-775-3773. A little patience, please. I'm almost done. Chubb, CEO, defends backing Trump appeal bond in 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 case. I've been following this case a little bit. You know about it. 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. Crazy old bat who got the bright idea to come after Trump decades later, saying he raped her in a Bergstrom Goodman or whatever stow in a change room. And then afterwards went after him for libel after Trump said, I don't even know who that woman was. $83 million, they're saying, even though the jury was like, yeah, I don't know about the rape claims, a little dubious, their own jury. But okay, we're going to charge the man with $83 million. He's appealing it. And what happens is you still got to put up like bonds and collateral and stuff to say, hey, this money, even though it may not be awarded to her just quite yet, you got to do right by the courts here and post your $91.6 million bond. You got to understand, these are the different fronts that Trump is dealing with in his personal life while just trying to be president. Go back to my previous shows if you really want to hash over all the details here. You know where I stand. Dubious. Very dubious. on the validity of all these cases. Former President Donald Trump appealed the civil defamation verdict. He filed a $91.6 million bond as he asked a federal judge to pause his monetary judgment from taking effect. The appeal came days before Trump faced a deadline to pay the penalty a jury had ordered him to give 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𒔔. And so that's what's going on with all of that. So the CEO of this company, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, CHUBB, is an insurance company, and they provided Donald Trump with this $91.6 million in this appeal bond. Chubb CEO Evan Greenberg, in a letter to investors, customers, and brokers, said, telling them, hey, calm down. This has nothing to do with me supporting Trump or underlying merits. When Chubb issues an appeal bond, it isn't making judgments about the claims, even when the claims involve alleged reprehensible conduct. As the surety, we don't take sides, he said. It would be wrong for us to do so, and we are in no way supporting the defendant. We are supporting and are part of the justice system plumbing included in this case. If you're a little confused, from what I understand, is these insurance companies, well, depending on your status and what you can prove and your business dealings with whatever insurance company, in this particular relationship between Chubb and Trump, what Trump did is he has collateral. It's not clear what collateral he put up for Chubb to put forth the $91 million for this appeal bond, but that's how it goes. They're saying, okay, you got collateral, we'll put up the money, you just pay us a little fee of $1.8 million. It's a lot less than $91 million, right? So that's the story. I mean, not taking sides, though. I appreciate that. I don't know why everyone's going so hard on this Chubb CEO. It looks like, from what I understand, this was not like widely reported. It's not like this guy went out of his way to make a show of it. It's evil people in the media found out, and they made a show of it, forcing him to make a public statement like this. He otherwise wouldn't have. I don't know what's the big hubbub, though. Like, he did such a big thing for Trump. I mean, really, if you think about it, he's got Trump. He's got Trump by the. No, I wouldn't say it like that. Look, he's got Trump is on the hook, basically. Should this judge, the monetary responsibilities come to fruition, he will. Chubb, the insurance company, is on the hook for that, and thereby Trump is on the hook with the collateral. So you follow me here. I don't know why everyone's praising Greenberg here like he did him such a big favor. He's got him in a very favorable position for Chubb. So don't know why the world it's just a lawyer doing his thing. I don't know. Hey, and it's providing Trump an option here, and a needed option. So that's good. But dang, what's the big deal? Any little thing, if you hold open the door for the man, you following at least a little bit here? I got a caller. We got Frank out of California. Thank you for your call, sir. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
All is well, Frank. Thank you for calling me back.
Yeah, hey. I mean, I've been working some paying jobs with my uncle last time, but I mean, yeah, it's getting crazier. It's getting crazier and crazier.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said, Frank. You said what's getting crazy?
Yeah, so last time you told me you said get a job at Chipotle.
I remember we talked, and yeah, I mentioned something like that.
I've been working with my uncle, like painting. But I mean, that makes.
And he pays you money?
It's some quick money.
Hey, so he is paying you money for working for him.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But plus, I need to be able to get enough to work to move out. Because my mother, you know what I'm saying? Because the mother spirit's always evil. Because the mother spirit's always evil. Because I still live there. I still live with my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%, man. So that's interesting. So you're working with your uncle. Go on. I cut you off.
Yeah. I live with my uncle, but he's not enough money to be able to get enough money to get out. But I need to get enough money to get out. But still, like what you're saying, like with like the evil spirit that's going on right now, it's crazy for a lot of people because it's hard to afford a house. It's hard to afford even living right now.
Yeah.
And like a lot of these migrants are coming in and they're like steal a lot of housing for a lot of people.
Have you looked around and Have you looked it around at all? Like just
Yeah,
at apartments or anything like that? What's it like right now? What's the what's
around where I
the market
live,
like right now? Is it difficult? Is it expensive?
It's like $1,500 to rent for a month.
1,500, huh? But you're
$1,500
talking
to
about a
rent for a month.
studio or a 1-bedroom, correct?
No, I'm talking about like just like a 2-bedroom with the bathroom.
2-bedroom bathroom.
Bakersfield. In Bakersfield, yeah.
Bakersfield,
it's
okay.
Pretty
1,500,
yeah,
dang. Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Of course.
I'm actually in LA. It's like $2,000 a month to try
around,
to get
you know, I'd say a little bit. I'd say
rent.
for studio 1-bedroom around there, 1,500. I'd say 1,500,
Yeah.
1,700 around there. That
What
is
do
a
you
lot.
think about that?
That's a significant
you think
amount.
That's greed? Do you think that's greed coming through, or do you think that's like just them?
I think it's a number of
trying-
things, and I honestly, Frank, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's a number of things, and I don't think all of them quite honest and quite fair for the individual, especially an individual such as yourself trying to do this. But listen, so you looked at the market, you looked around, it looks quite expensive.
Yeah, I looked around
Did you
at
look?
other houses.
You looked at 2-bedroom?
Well, I looked at like separate bedrooms, like 2 bedrooms, maybe even like like even to be in, because I could live in.
Did
the
you
living
even
room.
consider? Did you even consider something like lower than that, studio or roommates? Is that something you considered?
What, like 1 bedroom? You think 1 bedroom?
But have you considered at all roommates? Is that something,
I
or
would
is that
fully
or is
consider
that
that.
something that's not even in your mentality?
No, what do you think would be the cheapest denominator?
Roommates,
Like, you think,
man.
like, it's like
Here's what I
$800
would.
bucks?
Room.
Yeah,
Say
it's
again.
like $1,500.
$1,500?
So
No,
like,
no.
So like the lowest denominator, say you want to live by yourself, it'd be like $100 to go crazy. But like you need at least a roommate, right?
Yes. Look, that's what I did when I got to LA. Look, you got to be willing. It's like, what do you really want? It's your life here,
I just
right?
want somewhere that I can live by myself.
Right.
Get a room by myself.
But and that's usually the first like step and conclusion people make, right? And they're like, okay, I want to live by myself. Then they look it up and they're like, dang, it's $1,500 to live in a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom, and then that's where they stop and they give up. I didn't even think like that when I got to LA. I just assumed that I'd be with roommates in a not nice area. I just assumed
you
that.
assumed.
But you got to understand.
No, I'm joking.
You're right. What I'm saying by assuming in that situation is that I didn't expect. I'm moving to a whole new place. I came to LA and I'm like, okay, time to get an apartment. And I thought I got to get somewhere where I can afford. And I didn't even question. I knew that it would be roommates and probably not a nice place. And I'll work. And I just knew within that I'll just work myself up from there.
As a man to live, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it'd be like, yeah, we're splitting the rent.
That's just like 100%, man. And there are services. There are.
So
I went on.
I got a job. I want to get a better job after this, but.
So you said you're working with your uncle, right?
Yeah. He's giving me a couple bucks. You know what I'm saying? Like to live, you know, maybe $250 a week. But still, like I don't.
You can make more at a minimum wage job.
Yeah.
You make more at a minimum wage job, like Chipotle. And it doesn't have to be Chipotle, but look, if you, I'm trying to be.
How much did Chipotle give us a week though? Yeah, $7.50.
I'm not sure, but what's minimum wage in California?
Like $18 a week.
Boom! You're already making more than with your uncle, which I'm sure is a nice job. Don't get me wrong, but look, I'm trying to be as practical as possible. What would I do if I just was suddenly by myself with a minimum wage job in LA? Still, I'm trying to be as practical as possible. I think it's possible. I would use apartments list. I used apartments.com. I used to find a roommate when I first got here.
What's the cheapest apartments you could find in California?
And I was paying $500. I was paying $600. I was paying in my first
Florida,
place.
Man, I think I moved like Florida though.
Sorry, Frank. Could you repeat that? My bad. Slow down. Would you just say?
I think I moved to Florida because they might cost cheaper for living.
Wait.
But I don't know. California's a little bit expensive, man.
Well, calm down. You haven't even looked at. Be practical. Just be practical. Okay, you haven't even looked at roommates.
Be real in the now.
Exactly. You haven't even considered roommates.
You're right. No, I have.
You looked at studio and 2-bedroom apartments and said this. Oh yeah, that's expensive, and didn't even consider roommates. If I was minimum wage job in LA today,
I need to get out of California. I might need to get out of California, man.
No, You don't even know if you have to get out of California yet. How do you know that? How do you know that?
For like young people that can afford that, you think California is a place to afford? Because it's not.
Well, wait, but how do you know that?
Because I've seen like in like Florida, it's like way lenient with taxes.
But have you ever lived on your own?
Lenient with a lot of stuff. Not yet, man.
Exactly. You don't know yet. You haven't even looked. You haven't even looked how much it costs to be with roommates. What it would be like.
Does Chad think California's like that? I don't know. I don't know if California's.
California
like
is
that,
expensive, 100%. But you don't know. You don't know if it's too expensive. You don't know. You have no clue.
Or like Ohio or something, man.
But Frank, hold on. You still don't even know if California is too expensive. You gotta do small steps.
Bro, it's crazy. Bro.
Wait.
Yeah, small steps.
Is California expensive? Is California expensive? Sure, that's a fact. Is California too expensive for Frank from California? Wait, hold on. Is California too expensive for Frank from California to live on his own? You don't know that.
Do these men live in California in the chat?
Yeah, you don't know that, Frank.
To rent? Well, yeah, I might not know that.
You got to get a roommate. You got to be okay with living with people. That'll teach you a lot of things, man.
Yeah, no, I've lived with
people before, if you can't afford an apartment, you gotta go get a roommate. Go to Look, I came to California. I came to LA. I went on roommates.com. I went on apartments.com, and I did the work day in, day out. I met people. I went out. I'm like, this guy's weird. This guy's cool. This guy's. Say again.
You got an apartment in like LA?
No, I got roommates. I got roommates when I first got here. I did not.
Yeah, that's what
I did not have any expectations of having my own apartment and all that.
Work as hard as you. You guys work hard as you.
No, I was working minimum wage job when I got here. I was not working for Jesse. I was working a minimum wage job. What?
How much you have to split between them?
I paid $600.
Like $300.
I paid $600. In my first place.
$600 is not bad. $600 is not bad.
You see how the possibilities open up when you just simply look it up? You didn't even know that $600 was you would pay for a roommate.
But that'd be between two men. So it was like $1,200. That's $1,200.
I didn't have to worry about that. All I had to do was pay $600 to my roommate. He's the one who had the lease.
How many folks you live with though? How many guys you live with? Though?
It was 3 of us in my first place. I lived in a couple of places, and I didn't even know them that well.
Yeah, you're right.
But these are the things that you got to do. These are the things you got to do.
You told me last time you were like, oh, get a job. I got a job. So
I love that. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Last time, but I'm gonna try to get a job, and we'll see what we could do from there.
Big time, man.
We need
stack
3
it
men
up
to be able to stack it up.
Put that money away from your. Put that money away you're making with your uncle. I cut you off. I cut you off, Frank. What did you just say?
Get away from the mama spirit. Get away from mama.
I'm missing what you're saying, Frank. I'm sorry. Could you repeat what you're saying?
No, get away from mama.
Right, Frank. But you follow me? Slow down a little bit. Slow down. You see what I'm saying here? Because you keep going to other things. You're saying I'm going to go to Idaho and all that. You don't even know. You don't even know the first step. No,
I don't know.
You've already done some of the first steps. You're working with your uncle. That's nice. Keep saving it up.
Yeah.
Consider even a minimum wage job. You would make more than your uncle.
Last time you told me, I was like, I'm gonna get to work. Got to work. But I need an 8 to 5. I need a 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? As a man, you kind of need 9 to 5 when this shit ain't working.
Not even in it. Just as someone who needs to work and maintain himself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Consider a minimum wage job, man. You'll love it.
I'm gonna keep building off this, man.
Go get a McDonald's job.
Hey, I am, man. I am. I'll get
minimum wage
job.
Start there.
I'll go to Chipotle, man.
It's more than you think.
It is more than you think.
Just bring down your expectations in life.
Just like Jesse says, it's like the more is to come than what you really think is really there. More is to come.
That's awesome. Keep it up, man. Don't stop. That's nice
man.
with you working with your uncle, man. I like that.
I'll call next week again. I'll call in a couple weeks.
Call me again, big time. Don't hesitate.
Later, brother.
Right on, sir. Okay. 888-775-3773. I'm trying to maybe I was speaking over him too much there. I was trying to reach over the ether, over the chasm. I was trying to reach over the chasm. Frank! Don't worry about all that stuff tomorrow and Idaho and Frank! Can you hear me, Frank? I know you're hearing my words. 888-775-3773. And I'm trying to be as practical about it. Like if I was in LA today, minimum wage. I mean, I did it in 2019. You got to bring down all these expectations you have. And all the fears you may be having about those expectations or whatever. What's roommates going to be like? What if he's a crazy person? What if I live in a roach-infested place? Don't worry about all that. That crazy person will build you character if he doesn't kill you. That was a joke. Don't freak out. Slow down. And don't be too quick. Know that you have some time. Don't be too quick. Meet people. That's what I did. I met people. I met them and did my best. I just did my best engaging and, okay, this is a weird place. I remember one of the first places I looked up to live in was in Crenshaw and like Washington or something like that. And here's a little bit about my mentality, so maybe this will help someone. You know, I still had like limits and standards. So I had like a budget and this place in particular, the one in Crenshaw, was good price. It fit my price. And I took a bus to get down there. I got off the bus. And the second I got off the bus, I looked around. I crossed the street. I got on the next bus back, and I didn't even go and see the apartment. I didn't even go see the roommate and all that. I just knew. I just looked at the area. I saw the bars on the windows. The people. I just knew. I walked across, took the next bus back, and just went back to the drawing board. But I knew that I was willing to, how do I put this? It's not that I'm willing to put myself in danger and all that. It was just that I didn't have these grand expectations that would stop me from going to Crenshaw or going to see at least what it's like because of my circumstance and only what's available to me. I didn't have the money to live in a single bedroom, all that. So what is a man to do? Live with mama? Mm-mm. Yeah, I got a major bad vibe in South Central. I didn't even bother to go look at the apartment. Oh man. This guy is currently worth $0 and he wants a 1-bedroom apartment in one of the most expensive regions on the planet. Yeah. It's just kind of a wake-up call kind of thing. And it's not even that bad. It's going to be pretty fun. There's going to be some... Don't get down. Never think you're in a bad situation because you're living with a roommate you don't want to live with or living in a place that's not nice or whatever. No. Definitely never fall into that. That's a mistake. And once that's over, it's actually pretty fun. It's not bad at all. Living with roommates or... You stick to yourselves. It's not a big deal. One step at a time. Okay, what else? What are we up to here? What's next? What's next here on the American Anchor Baby? Hey, you know today's Thursday. So you want to subscribe. You want to hit the notification bell. Because tomorrow we're taking a flight. Nick Stream Fridays. You don't want to miss it. 4 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Thursday already. Wow. But we take a flight. So you want to hit the notification bell. Nick Stream Fridays. Okay. I'm checking my super chats. I'm checking the chats. What are the people saying? The bachelor life is fun. You just have to get used to eating glass and dealing with hardship. Terry, I hated having roommates. But Terry, did you live with female roommates? Sorry, ladies. I hear horrible things. For the ladies out there hearing me as well, that too also want to go on their own, They want to spread their wings. No man has come to marry them yet. It doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. They're looking out in the distance. It's not looking good. And then they want to go off. Careful with female roommates. I hear a lot of things. Careful with just for the ladies out there. You know, just a little warning, I guess. Mainly the warning is this. Just don't get so involved. Okay? And this is a wisdom that goes for all people, but I think the ladies will understand me here. The issue I've noticed, just from the stories I hear, is in getting involved. Because you're living in proximity and women are the way they are. You just start getting involved in each other's lives. And what happened? And he said, what? And then you just get involved. Just don't get so close. Just don't get so close. That's where that happens with all people. It just happens very obviously with the women, so we can maybe make an example so we can learn here. But careful. It's that proximity, in my opinion. You just get so involved in each other's lives. You just know too much that something happens. Someone says something and it's a mess. Okay. Beautiful. 888-775-3773. What shall we talk about now? In the last bit of the show? None of this interests me. Who cares about all this? News. Who cares about all this news? I have a bunch of stuff saved. All the fun stuff I've been wanting to get to for tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. You know we got to give a little love, a little shout. I don't know what love. I don't know what it is, but you know I got to talk about Akira. Poor Akira Toriyama. I know many of you have been wondering, when's Nick going to mention it? He hasn't even mentioned it. Akira Toriyama dead. Creator of Dragon Ball Z. You know Mexico is reeling. I don't know if they're going to recover from this. Have you guys seen the parades in Mexico over this, the death of Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z? What's up with, what happened in Mexico? Why did it capture so many Mexican youth? Anybody know the explanation there? Akira Toriyama, Mexico. I'm trying to find some of these amazing parades, and it's truly incredible. The how much the Mexicans came out for this guy, a Japanese anime artist. Nick just looking for any excuse to talk about DBZ. But what was I saying? Yeah, major Mexican love for the Japanese man. I find Akira's story so interesting, and Dragon Ball's interesting in a number of ways. I probably am editorializing a lot, but Akira spoke about spirituality in interesting ways that speaks to me, and it speaks to like Bond a little bit in strange ways. And manhood, masculinity. Everybody says Goku is the worst dad ever. I got a lot to say about that. They're so wrong. And it's funny, Akira was almost canceled a bit. He was actually almost canceled a bit for racism because he would draw black characters in a certain way. Years later, he would get canceled by the internet. Racist Akira Toriyama, he would respond not in an apology, not in a mea culpa, I didn't mean to be racist, not in a we will remove all the characters from these racist characters from Dragon Ball. No, he said nothing like that. Instead, he told the world, well, it's not for you. Dragon Ball is a Japanese cartoon for Japanese people. So get out of here. Get out of my country. And I got to appreciate a nationalist. I got to appreciate here's some of the black characters. I'll leave it up to you if that's racist. Yeah. You got to appreciate a nationalist. You know what I'm saying? And we might get into that tomorrow on a fun Nick Stream Fridays. What else? You got to appreciate a nationalist. It's not for you. And you got to appreciate the themes of racial struggle when Goku is fighting the supreme race being Frieza. I know maybe you don't understand what I'm talking about. For those that know, you guys know what I'm talking about. There's some pretty heavy, deep themes. But anyways, that's enough. That's enough out of that. It's enough fun. That's enough fun. Last few minutes of the show here. Last few minutes. Let's stretch out these last 4 minutes before we say goodbye and return for a flight tomorrow. I have some first-class super chatters already. I've saved all your first-class tickets, all the people who purchased them. I'm very grateful. We got you on the list. Once you get to your gate, make sure you present your tickets to the ladies so that you will be let in for early boarding. First class, you got to love it. Early boarding, you sit down, plenty of leg room, you put your stuff up top. You sit down, they give you a drink, the ladies bring you a drinky and snacky. It's a total vibe, as they say. Fridays, Nick Stream, 4 p.m. That picture looks exactly how I almost shouldn't repeat that. Imagine Joe from Phoenix looking. I'm sorry, Carver. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. It's Nazi because Goku becomes a white person when he goes Super Saiyan. You gotta appreciate the supreme. What do you say? What is this? It seems like every race over all of history, they have all agreed that there's something mystical and heavenly about the blonde, blue-eyed, white-skinned creature. If you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, the character in that show that I'm even talking about turns blonde to defeat his enemies. He turns Master Race. That's a joke. I'm playing around. Can't an anchor baby play around in the last 2 minutes of a show? Free. Okay, I'll respond to the DBZ comments tomorrow. Appreciate all that. Thank you, DJ T 2020 over there in my Rumble chat. How you doing, sir? DJ T 2020. I say it DJ 2020 like he's some kind of DJ from 2020. That's just not true. That's just wrong. How old is this kid? DJ T 2020. I believe Frank is in his 20s. You know, I think maybe even past 25. I think he's my age. I could be wrong, but I believe Frank is actually my age. And we wish Frank well, right? We wish him well. All right, folks. That's it from me. Nick, you so crazy. Yeah, maybe a little bit. All right, y'all. Catch me tomorrow. More Nick Stream Fridays tomorrow. That's it from American Anchor Baby. We got Open Line Friday on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. The Hake Report. The Fallen State. And then you're going to get on the plane for the flight. All right, y'all. Take care. I see you. Oh, sorry, y'all. Call me tomorrow. That's it from me. Take care. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.